Looks like I am live. Welcome, everybody. Once again, we are doing one of these fancy live streams because you guys seem to like them. So, a couple things here while we're waiting for everybody to get in. I'm imagining I'm going to see some folks here in just a second popping in. Can you guys hear me okay? Just, okay. Either way, a couple things to point out. We have some new coupon codes for a couple different companies that I work with, including 1776 United here and 9 Line Apparel. The new coupon codes are live in the AR500 Armor Backpack video I just released today, if you guys have seen that one. So it's on there if you guys want to check it out and use them. And there's also new links there as well to go with those codes if you guys are looking for those shirts. So there is that. I see you guys jumping in. What is going on, everybody? While everybody's getting in, we'll go over another gun because it kills time while everyone's getting in. This is the LWRCI 6.8. This is the A5 Razorback 2. It's a bad boy, chambered in 6.8 special. On there, we have the primary arms, Griffin Mill 1-8, I believe. Yep, 1-8, sitting in an arrow mount. It's got one of those fancy ambidextrous receivers. This one, I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up, is full of lots of dirt and grime because most of my guns end up like that. So it's a little crunchy just from being out there in the field. Shoots those big old 6.8 pills coming out of there. And these are the proprietary mags from Magpul that they make as well. And then out there on the end, this is the Bowers Burrs 375 cam. And of course, we have the OWL Owl weapon light on there. Full review coming. Stay tuned. And I can see there you guys have questions coming in, so we'll get to them now. With that aside, all right, Catman Actual says yeet. I would reply with yeet. Eat on, my friend. All right, let's try getting to the questions. What 9mm striker fired handgun would I buy looking to get a new concealed carry weapon? So it's obviously a huge topic. If you see my video on what guns do I carry, that's definitely a good starting point. You can go on the larger side for carry, as I view it anyway. Others don't. Some people, carry full-size guns. Start like Glock 19 size, great choice, of course. Smith & Wesson Shields, great choice. Walther PPS, great choice. Glock 43s, great choice. The 43Xs, they're great as well. There's lots and lots of good ones out there, as well as revolvers. But if you're going to carry a revolver, make sure you train with it. A lot of people don't and can't hit crap. So just keep that in mind. All right, what do we got? Sorry, moving the computer. Brian asks, what's the best 300 Blackout for personal defense? So there's a couple really good ones out there for sure. The Barnes 110s are really good. They're really expensive. The Guerrilla Ammunition Barmageddon round is fantastic. It's 110 grainer, and it's got the Nosler 110 grain bullet in there. It's excellent. That's what my 300 Blackout defense guns have. So those would be two off the top of my head. Andy Q, super chat, thanks. Says, what are my thoughts on the Warrant scope mounts? So they're good. The X scales, the new ones, I think it's like a Gen 2 X scale. I have on a couple guns, and you guys have probably seen it here on the channel if you guys watch. But I've had zero issues with them at all. And what's new about the X scale ones versus the older ones is that they lightened it a little bit. The older ones were pretty heavy, which is fine, depending on what you're using it for. But the new ones are lighter, but still give you pretty darn close to the same amount of rigidity, solid feel, build quality, all those sorts of things. But yeah, the Warrant scopes are good to go. They're solid. No issues at all with those. Trying to see. One problem, now that I do this more and more, these live chats, like more and more people come and your questions come faster. All right. What do I think of 357 SIG overall? So it's good. It's a good cartridge. It's got a lot of recoil, a lot of blast compared to similarly sized guns in 9mm. That said, with anything like anything that's 357 SIG, most ammo companies are putting 9mm projectiles in there. So the same ones that were developed for 9mm. So what you end up getting is, on paper, really good performance, but a lot of times in flesh, performance isn't quite as good because the bullet is being pushed faster than it was designed for in terms of its performance envelope. So you just have to be careful with that. A lot of 10mm rounds are the same way. A lot of 10mm rounds don't perform as well as they should because really they're just bullets designed for 40 Smith & Wesson speeds. So again, they don't perform optimally when they hit things. Again, that's not always the case. It's overgeneralization. However, just keep that in mind if you're looking for those kind of cartridges. It's something to be aware of. David, what does he say? Is Mrs. Gunsngear ever going to make another appearance on a live stream? She can tell us what it's like being married to an influencer. Yeah, exactly. After I just did the dishes before coming out here. So yeah, I'm sure she will. She's not against it. She's actually pretty good on camera, I think. So yeah, we can see if we can make that work. Drew in Reno says with the super chat, thank you for that. Thoughts for dealing with mental health and guns. So in my opinion, they're separate. I mean, I'm not a mental health expert, so I can't really go there. But I mean, I don't know what to say on that. I guess, like, are we going down the red flag law lane? If we are, I'm saying that's BS, and we absolutely shouldn't have that. If there's anything related to mental health and guns, it needs to be adjudicated in, with due process. Number one, we have to keep that in mind. But mental health is such a broad topic that definitely I am not qualified to speak on. I can say that beyond what everybody else is, I suppose. All right, continuing on. Eric Johnson, is the Bergara B14 HMR the best budget precision rifle? Depends what you consider budget. A lot of people consider budget like a $400 rifle, and in that range, the Savages, in my opinion, dominate. If you're willing to spend B14 money, yeah, it's definitely one of the better ones in that category. Now, again, some Savages compete with it really well. The Thompson centers are a little bit more, and they're really nice too. So it depends, but the B14 is great. It's an excellent, excellent rifle. For sure. All right. Sadat Castanda, maybe? Castanda. Super chat, thank you for that. Tactical Mr. Clean, any brand recommendations for a solid... Sorry, it's not... It keeps scrolling up on me. For a solid level 2 holster for a SIG P226. Much love and support from Colorado. Yeah, my default is going to be Safariland. The Safariland system, and you can configure those with different levels if you guys don't know retention, which is nice. So that's cool just by itself. So you can set it up how you want for your particular choice, depending on what types of hoods and releases and stuff that you want to have. But the ALS system's awesome. It's for retention. It's the best I've used to date. There may be better, I don't know, but it's the best I've seen so far. All right, where are we going? I lost it. I think I got that one. Yep. Gronk65 with a super chat. Thank you. He says, any opinion on the Gemtech suppressed bolt carrier? So yes, and I actually need to get one. I played with it when I was up there at their factory actually, and it seems like a really solid design. Anytime there's something that moves on a gun, particularly a semi-auto gun, I look at it as a point of failure, a potential point of failure. However, that one seemed really well designed, and I want to get one in. I've seen Aaron Cowan's video on it, and Aaron, doesn't mess around. He puts out good info, and he really thinks highly of it. And yeah, I definitely want to get one in for sure. Because, if you guys watched my adjustable gas block video, I go into like why you want to minimize the things you're changing on a gun in terms of when you suppress it, because things go wrong fast, and Murphy always shows up. So yeah, it seems like a good design, seems like a good option. So definitely going to check it out. It's on my list. Pof Revolution Thoughts. AT Stowell asks, unfortunately, I don't have any experience with POF. People ask me about them all the time. I have no experience with it. However, I will tell you that I have seen the design. I've looked into it, and a lot of the design elements that go into it, like for instance, the cam, the roller cam, and the bolt carrier group, that's smart, right? Like more people should be doing stuff like that. It's absolutely an improvement. There's other things on there that are really smart, really well thought out as well. So we shall see. But unfortunately, I can't really give you great thoughts because I don't even think I've ever shot one. I don't think so. I can't recall it. I might. When you go to shows and stuff, you shoot a lot of guns. It's possible I may have, but I don't recall it. All right, let's go. Duramite 77. Super chat, thank you. If you could only have one, M&P 2.0 or P10C, and why? M&P 2.0 personally. There's nothing wrong with my P10C. It's great, no issues. The M&P 2.0, my opinion, is fantastic. I would say the trigger is probably slightly less good than a 1 point or in a P10C. The P10C is fantastic. But I'm not really a trigger snob, and the M&P 2.0s are plenty good for me, and I can shoot them really, really well. I just kind of like the ergonomics on the M&P 2.0 a little bit better, and I don't know, it feels a little smoother to me than the P10C. The P10C feels a little, I don't want to say snappy because it's not snappy at all, but it doesn't feel as smooth, in my opinion. But both of those are great. Those are good guns. Like, by all means, if you like one of them over the other one, get that one. Both are good. What do we got? WWH Howell 76 says, is the military thinking of changing to a new caliber? So I'm not sure across the board. I know they put out a solicitation for a 6.8 millimeter cartridge. It's not 6.8 special per se. It's just something that's 6.8 and it meets their specifications in terms of velocity and energy. But I'm not sure if that's across the board or not. I know they just adopted a version of the Mark 20, which is, for those who don't know, it's a SCAR in 6.5 Creedmoor for a lot of units as well. So I mean, there's definitely newer stuff being introduced all the time. I know some units are using 300 Blackout now as well, more than they used to. So who knows? All right. We got stuff coming in. Dylan Kaler. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. That goes across the board to anybody here today. PWS Mark 116 or Caracal 816. It's another one of those, like, yes, right? They're good. I'm not a huge piston AR guy. There's like 4 of them that I think are decent at this point, and those are definitely 2 of them. The A16 is a beast. It's a great gun. It's really well thought out, and mine's been flawless. My opinion, I haven't seen long-term testing data to prove this because it just hasn't been adopted as much, but my opinion, it is an improved 416. And I realize, like, some people just spit out their beer watching this, but over time, assuming everything I've seen testing wise with the Caracal 816 plays out, I do think so. I think it's an improvement over the 416. That's a good gun. And the Mark 116 PWSs are great. I want to get one of their Pro Series in for review because people are asking about that all the time. C Delta 10 with a super chat. Thank you for that. He says, thanks for posting the deals. The Vortex 1 to 6 showed up today. Great budget deal. Agreed. 100%. It's an awesome deal. So for those of you guys that aren't following me on Facebook or in my Instagram stories, I've been putting up a place where you can grab links rather, where you can grab the Vortex Strike Eagle 1 to 6 with a Vortex cantilever mount, which is a good mount. It's lightweight. It's nice for $229. So check out my Facebook and Instagram feeds for that. Also, my email. That went out in my email last week as well. If you guys aren't signed up for the email is at my Facebook page underneath the sign up tab, which is the top right as you look at it. And then you can also sign up if you don't want to go to Facebook for whatever reason. You don't have to have a Facebook account. You can still go there. But if you don't want to, you can go just to my website, which is Mrgunsngear.com. And there's a email sign up tab there as well. So I send those deals out, and guys like C Delta 10 get save some money on good stuff. So that's why we do it. Cooter with a super chat, thank you. He says, gun oil I used to shine my scalp. I don't shine my scalp. I assure you. I think every live chat I've done except for the first one, I've worked out right before. So that's probably what the shine is, and that's why I have this sitting over here as well. Plus it's hot out. All right. Eon says, know of any decent BDC match for a 4570? No, Henry 4570. However, I was actually just talking to Dimitri about this from Primary Arms the other day, who designs reticles for Primary Arms, Trigicon, EOTech, and others. For those who don't know, about 4570 and 10 mil and how they line up. And we were running the data on a few different optics out there, and one that's pretty close. Depending on your load, you got to run your dope through it. But the Primary Arms 1 to 6, 22 LR, so for the rimfire one, it comes pretty close on a lot of those calibers that drop fast. That start out fast and drop fast, it matches up pretty close to them. So run the data, but there is that. 23 just ball with the super chat. Thank you kindly. Any thoughts on the LTT PX4 compact carry? Yes. So I really like the PX4. I'm going to do a video one of these days when I have time. So probably never, but one of these days, talking about the like most underrated guns out there. And the PX4, my experience has been that, yes, I realized Maryland had some problems with them, the Maryland State Police, but from everything I'm aware of, those issues are all resolved. And I have one. It's great. And the Langdon tactical version is even better because Ernest worked his magic on it. And I have shot that one. I've shot that one at a range day like 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it first came out. It was kind of like the new hotness for Beretta, and they were marketing it. So yeah, so I did shoot that one, and I liked it. It's really, really nice, and it has improved sights, improved, it's a decocker model. It has better grip, so it's a good gun. And I like that rotating barrel action. It's good. I'm surprised more companies don't do it, actually. All right. What do we got? Guys, these questions come so fast. John Smith says, what's my preferred method of concealed carry? So generally speaking, inside the waistband, 3 or 4 o'clock position is what I go with. But I do pocket carry as well. I do not appendix carry, and I don't have anything against people who appendix carry. If you appendix carry and you practice safe gun handling, have at it. But for me, it's just not comfortable. I can't get past it. And for me, like I said, I've said in a lot of videos, I carry all the time, like all the time. So unless there's a security checkpoint I have to go through with a police officer at it, I'm carrying a gun. So it has to be comfortable for me because I'm always carrying. Joseph Holtan says, what's my personal go-to AR stock? I don't have one. There's a lot of good ones. I like the B5s a lot, both the Stop Mod Bravo. I like the Bravo company a lot. Very, very good. I like the Magpul SL. That's a beast of all-around stock. I like the Magpul PRS Gen 3, I think it is now, or 2. Whichever the newest one is, the PRS is really, really nice. It's great stock for precision work. And I like the Magpul MOE regular rifle stock, too. That's excellent stock. There's a ton out there that I'm sure I just missed. But yeah, there's good ones out there. They abound. I want to get the new BCM stock in too. I shot that one a little bit when I was in Rhode Island a few months ago, but it just came out available to everyone, so I need to put an order in for that. Jace Tyler says, most recent post you called deputy sheriffs men from the government over unlawful actions. Am I afraid to call out cops, Leos? No, because they're all individuals, right? So there's good police officers and bad police officers. You guys know I was in law enforcement for a while. There's good and bad and everything, just like the military. There's no different there. So there's good ones and bad ones. I recently on Instagram, just speaking of that, it's a good opportunity to bring it up. On Instagram, I'm gonna wipe the camera real quick. I think it's messed up. But so on Instagram, I posted a video of the gun seizures that happened in Katrina, and a lot of folks who followed the channel, particularly on Instagram, I'd imagine, are younger and had never heard of it. And for those who don't know, there was both military, National Guard, police. I believe mostly it was the sheriff's department at that point, and it was also it was the New Orleans Police Department as well, because the guy who used to be the police chief there is now in jail. Totally unrelated, but he was one of them as well. And then there was also some active duty units there as well, which were part of it. And most of them, of course, went along with it. But I know there was 2 lieutenants, I believe, active duty, who refused to do it. They refused to follow orders, and they were brought up on charges, and they were ultimately acquitted. So, to say for that instance, for example, the military is bad, well, there's good and bad, right? The guys who did the right thing did the right thing. So, no. But like I said, I call them men from the government when they're going to seize guns from law-abiding citizens, because that's what they are. So the ones who do that, right? So everybody's different. Whoa, a lot of questions came in at once. Eric S., that must have triggered something, that response. Eric S. says, ACR, SCAR, AUG, Bren, Arsenal. I'm assuming you mean AK on that one. Have everything else. So I'm assuming you mean, which one should you get? not the ACR. Arsenal, if it's a SAM series rifle, I would put it in the category of those. Of the two, if I had to, use it to shoot, to save my life, I would pick the Scar for sure. Not even close for me. I know a lot of people hate the Scar, but I'm a believer, and FN hates me too. So they're not paying me to say that, I can assure you. And then probably I would say after that, it'd be a close tie for the AUG and the Bren. The Bren's a good gun. It is. I really like it. It's just really front heavy for what it is. But yeah, those are good options. Go-to brands for knife and lights. This is from Triggerman with a super chat. Thank you for that. So knives, generally speaking, I like on the lower end some of the Kershaw stuff, some of the Cold Steel stuff. And then on a higher end, and this is not high end for knife guys, but high end for people who aren't knife guys but still like knives, which is probably what I'd put myself in, maybe-ish, would be some of the ZR. Am I saying it right? ZRO? Zero Tolerance. Jeez, I'm confusing optics brands and knife brands. So yeah, those would be good. And then for lights would be Streamlight Surefire, always good to go. If you're looking for just a carry light, that's not going to be a duty light. The O light's good to go. Now some of the O lights are actually really good too for duty lights, but they don't have the longevity, history of provenness that the other two have. Arasaka makes a good light for sure. Crimson Trace, I'm going to try to do a video on them one of these days when I get a second, but their lights are good too for their long gun lights. Those little CR123A lights that mount in M-lock slots, those are nice. I've been using them a lot. You guys have probably seen them in videos, and they've been solid. They just need to make one that uses scout mounts. I don't know why anyone would make a light that size that doesn't use a scout mount. I don't know, whatever. I guess that's why I don't design knives. The Truth with a super chat. Thank you. My favorite channel. Thanks for all you do. Have I ever had an opportunity to shoot the X-Tar EP9? And do I get a lot of requests for it? So I have not shot it. I get some requests for it, but not a ton. And, considering the value that the gun is with the reports I've seen in terms of performance, it's surprising. I would think I would get more, but honestly, what that usually means to me when you see a gun that has good reviews and it has features that people would probably like, it generally means that they do a poor job of marketing. So it is what it is. But if I get one, I will review it. I can assure you. We got try to scroll through. All right, Eric Johnson says, "Have I shot? Am I going to review one of the new Z Paps? I hope to. I have not shot one yet, but Zestavi USA, for those of you guys that don't know, is bringing in the Zestava line of rifles and pistols now, rather than Century. So they're renamed. They have some decent different features, they claim. We don't know how true that is. Definitely some of the 922R is different and some of the furniture is different, but no. I haven't shot the new ones yet. I've been watching Rob's videos over at AKOU, and his seems to be doing pretty well so far. Maybe I'll reach out to Atlantic and see if they'll send one out for a review, because I know they're carrying them as well right now. What else do we got? Trying to read through. George W says, best PCC in barrel length and 9mm. Best barrel length, there's not really one. However, with 9mm and like a 16-inch barrel like you get in the Ruger PCC, I've chronoed it before, so if you guys haven't seen that video, check it out. But the 16-inch, you're generally, with most loads, and again, this is load dependent, so most loads you're still going to get more velocity from like a 16-inch than you are from like an 8-inch. But what happens somewhere in between there is you're going to see a point that the longer barrel is actually going to create drag because there's no more powder to burn. So beyond 8 inches, you don't see too much in terms of a gain. Now, the best PCC, I mean, MP5 has been around forever. It's proven. It's a good one. Any of those variants that are built by quality companies. The Scorpion is proven. And I don't know if you guys can hear, there's a plane going overhead. Scorpion's proven. CMMG Banshee is a beast. I don't know anyone that has one of those in 9mm that's ever had any problems with it. Mine just runs and runs and runs. Doesn't matter. Suppressed, not suppressed. Just freaking keeps going. The FM products, AR9's been really, really good. but with AR9s, you just have to look for parts breakages, right? That's kind of a common thing, more planes. All right, so, I mean, Scorpion's proven for sure. The Ruger PCC's been great. I don't think that gun's had a malfunction that I can remember to date either, but yeah, you definitely want to look with something with longevity, in my opinion, for the PC, anything 9mm carbine-ish, because some of them have issues, as you guys have seen here on the channel. Eric Bosnoid says, thoughts on Army training for local militants and NC? I don't know if you mean the Army trained for people in NC, or I don't know what that means. And if so, that's not the case. If you have a follow-up on that, Eric, let me know, because I'm not sure what you're asking there with that question. I want to get to you. Jace Tyler says, ETA on the video for the new B5 precision stock. I haven't even shot. Well, that's not true. I haven't shot the one that I have now. Currently, I've shot the stock before, a gun with the stock before. No ETA. Generally speaking, ETAs are laughed at by God. But the generally 4 to 10 weeks from when I get something in is when videos go up. So that is that. Audio Focus, thank you for the super chat. It says, I'm an HK fan, but wanting a Glock for concealed carry only because of size, capacity, concealment. Smart. I'm torn between the 43X, 43, and 26, so I am too. So not sure it'll be too much help, but I'm torn on them too. Today, the 43X was my carry with the Streamlight TLR6. I like it a lot. It's definitely slimmer than the 26, but I really like a 26 too. 43 is great. The 43 is probably the biggest gun that I personally will pocket carry, so it does give you that option. I mean, I like them. I don't know. I like them all. I don't have a good answer for you. If you are someone who struggles with carrying a gun every day, I would go with a 43. It's more likely that you'll carry it in that instance, right? If you're a guy who carries all the time, well, then maybe 26 and the extra weight isn't as big of a deal. All right, let's see here. What do we got? Cameron Smith says, what are some of my favorite, I lost you. What are some of my favorite holsters? In terms of types of holsters, if I'm carrying inside the waistband, I like hybrid holsters. And I know that's like super sacrilegious for whatever reason in the gun community these days. But like I said, I carry all the time and they're more comfortable to me. And like, yes, I realize it could not be as easy to reholster and all of those sorts of things. I get all the downsides people say. Yes, I get it. I don't care. My priority is being able to have the gun on me and then use it as needed. Reholstering is not that it's not important. It's secondarily important in my opinion. So, and then for pocket holsters, I like the DeSantis makes one that's good. I think it's called the Nemesis. That's a good one. And then outside the waistband, if we're carrying outside the waistband for anything besides the range, I'm generally carrying in a Safari Land. I brought that up earlier, but I know folks are always chiming in. There's no way I'm going to be able to say this. Perlenbacher sends a super chat, and thank you for that. He says, does the 416 recoil more than a Mark 18? Yes, it does, in my opinion. 416s, this is actually a good topic for a video. People are always claiming a lot of things are overgassed. And a lot of guns are overgassed, and they're overgassed for a reason. A lot of civilian AR-15s, for example, are overgassed because people run Wolf ammunition and they run it in cold conditions, and the gun's going to choke up if it's not overgassed. So, yeah, and I think the 416 is an example of a military rifle that's overgassed, which isn't as common, at least not in the Western world. Over in the Comwalk part of the world, it's very common. But the reason that, like HK 416 is overgassed, in my opinion, is in really dirty, cruddy conditions with low maintenance, like when things are just not going well for the soldiers, Marines, whatever that are carrying them. The rifle's going to push through whatever's in its way in terms of debris, obstacles, etc. The action's going to cycle. The downside of that is it recoils a little bit more. All right, what do we got? Let's keep scrolling. All right, a ton of you guys here that I cannot see all of you. All right. Gator 130 says, just got a GHM9. Should I SBR it? Political climate wise. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're okay with the SBR, I would SBR it. I mean, I don't see a huge downside today that wasn't there, you know, 2 years ago or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I think having pistols is also nice. So in the not too distant future, I'm going to be traveling to a few different states, and I'm bringing a pistol just for that reason, because it's just easier, right? You don't have to worry as much about weirdo SBR laws, and you have to notify the government if you're going to travel with it and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, I mean, it just depends. C. Bertolfo with a super chat. Thank you. He says, any progress on the interceptor ammo test, and your thoughts on similar compressed metal cartridges? No progress. However, to answer that part of it, my thoughts on those cartridges is, right now, I personally wouldn't and don't. So, right, I mean, do I carry anything that has those? No. I personally wouldn't be comfortable with them yet. Long term, if the results that I've seen, some of the testing I've seen kind of pans out and everything continues to go really well, then maybe. I'm not against it. Sorry, adjusting a little late. I'm not against it. But with ammo, I like something that's just more proven at this point. But it's good technology. I think it's going places, and I think there's a lot of promise there. I'm not ready to personally change my carry ammo over to it. All right. Catman Actual says, thanks for the eat and return earlier. Chick-fil-A or Popeyes sandwiches. Also, Dan Crenshaw and his reason for red flag laws and Taps Act. So Chick-fil-A on the sandwiches. Dan Crenshaw and his reason for red flag laws and the Taps Act. I've seen his reasoning for red flag laws. I haven't seen his reasoning for the Taps Act. I'm not on that one yet. However, I mean, he can, reason all he wants and says he's open for discussion, but I'm not. I mean, our Second Amendment rights have been eroded so far. Oops, sorry, kick the computer. Sorry about that. Our Second Amendment rights have been eroded so far as it currently is, and I mean to such an extreme as it currently is, that accepting anything else is, I mean, it's almost inconceivable. I mean, it's not almost, it is inconceivable. Like, who thinks that that's the answer to anything when you look at the history of, I'm not what people call gun violence, but people who commit crimes with guns over time versus the laws that have been enacted. If you look at that and you have, oh, and somebody's barking. If you look at that and you're even a reasonable person, like, there's no way you could ever be like, yeah, what we need is more gun laws. That's the answer to our problem. I mean, it's just, it makes no sense. None. Zero. And, Mr. Crenshaw's generally a reasonable dude. I don't know why he's going on this rabbit hole there. No idea. Can't speak for him. Brandon B with a super chat. I appreciate that. Eric came back with, thank you with that. Army War Games amongst North Carolina population, Robin Sage. Okay. So you're asking about what I think about Robin Sage and Celeste Tiller and all those sorts of events occurring. I mean, that's part of training, right? I mean, they've been doing it forever. As long as they're not hurting civilians. I don't know if I missed something here, Eric, and there's something I don't know of. But I mean, those exercises within USASOC and other units and MARSOC, and I'm sure the Navy has them as well, have been going on literally for 50 years now. I know, or here in Carolina, they're always happening around here, and every now and then they make it makes the news that somebody didn't know something was happening, but that's very rare because, like I said, these things are going on all the time here in the Carolinas, and I know a lot in Texas as well, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. So I'm not sure. I mean, as long as they're not putting the population at risk, I don't see any issue with it. To the best of my knowledge, they're not. If I'm wrong, please let me know. All right, what do we got here? Scrolling. I'm trying to get to all you guys. All right. Reginald Xavier with the super chat. Thank you. Would I trust the Streamlight HLX for home defense. There's several HLXs, to be clear. I'm assuming you mean the rail mount. Let's just pretend you're going with the rail mount. The answer to that would be yes, assuming it's a recent made one. So some of the early ones had some issues with battery contact. If you guys weren't following that, just be aware of that. And if you're having that issue, contact Streamlight because they've fixed it to the best of my knowledge. So yes is the answer to that, I suppose. There you go. Pretty simple. Marcus Esler says with a super chat, thank you. I want more kinetic energy transfer in my duty weapon. Would I go with 40 or 45? I love these questions. So I'm assuming this is such a loaded question and really would take 10 minutes to answer even reasonably effectively. I'm assuming if you want the kinetic energy transfer, you mean you actually want it to penetrate as well. And one of the things that can be an issue with 45 is that in general, 45 doesn't do as well with intermediate barriers. There's a lot of cases of it bouncing off things when it shouldn't, and when it should have penetrated and those sorts of things. 40 is the opposite of that. 40 does really well at intermediate barriers for a pistol round. Of course, all pistol rounds do poorly, but for a pistol round, 40 does really well. So I would lean 40 just for that, based on your question. That said, the majority of people are much better off with 9mm than any of those calibers, in my opinion, for most instances. That said, I think there's a place for both calibers. I have both calibers, and I like both calibers. So yeah, I guess the answer to your question is I'm leaning 40. However, I can already hear people's heads exploding with that with that answer. All right. David MN says, did I see Dan Crenshaw, Joe Rogan podcast? Interesting. I didn't see that one. I saw the Dan Crenshaw, his explanation on Instagram TV, where he was trying to justify why he was into red flag laws. I haven't seen the Joe Rogan podcast now. Something just bit me. I don't know what that was. Whoa. Getting lost in the chats, guys. Sorry. All right, got that one. Texas Jesus says, what a great name, by the way. What do I think of titanium parts for the AR-15, AR-10 build? Have at it. They're great. Saves yourself some weight. They're super expensive. If you're willing to pay the price, hey, it's on you. I would probably, at this point, and I know somebody just came out with a titanium bolt carrier group, or a few people have rather recently, and I'd be interested to check that out, but I would probably stay away from it currently until they're a little bit more proven. But all the other components can be titanium, and I don't see any issue there function-wise. Even the trigger, yeah, I don't see any issue there. So yeah, outside of the bolt carrier group and obviously the barrel, I'd probably lean away from it right now. If the bolt carrier group proves itself to be a good performer long term, then I'm okay with it. But right now, to the best of my knowledge, it just has not yet. Matthew Green with the super chat, thank you. SLR 104UR versus Sega Sporter, pinned and welded with Bulgarian flash hider and 90-degree gas block, very specific. Velocity handling, NFA jump, thanks. So for velocity, you're going to win with the Sega, right? So that's just how it is. And same with the NFA. But for handling, yeah, the SLR 104 is the jam. It's excellent in that regard. For sure. Those are definitely good options, though. Eric said, was JW if the hype was over? I was just wondering if the hype was overblown. So yeah, again, unless they're hurting people that I don't know about, then I don't see it being a crazy issue. All right, what do we got? Did I get to those? Okay, scrolling. Screaming Skull Saloon. That's another good name. The $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Favorite all-around bolt carrier group right now? It would be BCM. Simply because for me, I've just never had an issue at all. I'm sure someone out there has because it's the internet and they make a lot of bolt carrier groups. But they're just proven at this point. There's a lot of good ones though now. I mean, if you look at today versus say like post Sandy Hook in terms of the quality of the bolt carrier groups that are out there, I mean, it's night and day. There's so many good options out there. Daniel Defense makes another good one. Those are for like mil spec-ish one. Arrow makes a good one. I always say that. It's one that I think is underrated. Palmetto makes a good one in their premium line. Some people I said this last week, some people say that they've had issues with gas rings. I never have, but gas rings are like $2 if you do have that issue. But the rest of those, their specs are really good. And now, Palmetto's bolts, I think, are all Toolcraft made that I know of. That could have been changed, but I think they are. So that's good. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? I can see you guys coming in. Trying to read through. You guys are having your own internal questions, which is good. It's good. Discussions, rather. All right. This will be the last one, guys. We'll close it out after this. Centurion 1006 says, what's my opinion of car pistols, K-series in particular? So car pistols, I actually have a bunch. And if you look at the early days of my channel, you'll see a lot of them there. I haven't seen a lot new from excuse me, I haven't seen a lot new from them, and that may just be me. I may have missed something, but their trigger's great for what it is. For double action trigger, it's really, really good, smooth, and it's double action, so you have the take up that a lot of people like. I used to carry pretty frequently their CW380, but I started getting light strikes with it, so I don't carry it anymore. It went away after that. Those are things I just don't like. But the K series, I have two of them, and they've been good. That said, I don't know of a lot of people that have really gotten high round count on car pistols. I think the guy I know probably who has the highest round count on cars is John Teagan, who many of you guys know as Tig, from Benghazi. John's a friend of mine, and you're breathing all over the microphone. But he shoots cars high volume, and he says they've been good. So, I mean, that's good. It's good to hear. So, there is that. All right, guys, we're gonna close. We're gonna close the chat out there. As you can see, Mr. Colt is very hot, and he wants to go back inside in the air conditioning. So that's it, guys. We'll close it out. And I thank all of you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to all the super chats, all of those sorts of things. None of this is possible without you guys, and that's never lost on me. So I really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys maybe next week. We'll see. All right. Just stay tuned to Facebook and Instagram. I'll post whenever I'm going to do a live. All right. See you guys.